Welcome, folks. It's Sideshow and Bren, joined by John Gasecki, Agents Lead on Valorant, and Dan Hardison, Game Designer on Valorant as well. That was a vibe, that video.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not exactly sure exactly what I saw.
I mean, the aesthetic is awesome, for one. Yeah, I mean, with Clove, there was something going on with, like, post-death, but coming back to life in some way or form. But generally as well, I mean, you look at the art style, you look at the direction you guys are taking Clove.
So cool.
It is so damn cool and so different to what you'd expect, where you know, maybe going skull and bones and a bit more grungy. But talk to me a bit about that process as well, where you went with this design choice for Clove.
The team definitely talked about like the darker and grungier aesthetic right from the get-go when Dan was like, hey, I'm gonna give you post-death, what can you do with this? And we really wanted to challenge ourselves in finding a twist to that. What is something that could be different? Early on, we landed in this spot around what we called like a beautiful death. How do we make death appealing? How do we make it very inviting? And that contrast, that double take, was something that kind of like colored the entirety of Clove, from the way their abilities look to this like really appealing, cool fashion sense that has like a little bit of an edge to it, to their personality that's like mischievous and risk-taking, but also like warm and inviting. And so that contrast really was the through line for everything of their looks and personality.
Well, we normally go through the agents by kind of working our way along, but I really think it makes more sense with Clove to work backwards and start with the ultimate. So that's where I want to ask my first question. You're talking about there being something after death, almost a spiritual sense. What is the ultimate then? How is this working?
Yeah, so the way the ultimate works is after you die, you have a few seconds where you can still press your ultimate key. And then after you press your ultimate, you have a 12-second window where you need to get a kill or a damaging assist to stay within the round. You also get like a 2-second window where you can reposition, move around, kind of similar to Reyna's Dismiss, so you can pick where you come back and start to plan to take your next fight.
And it's called Not Dead Yet. Just Not Dead Yet, straight up.
That's a great name.
It's really cool.
It is a great name. So I want to move on then to the smoke ability for Clove, which is called Ruse. And because there is a twist here as well, it's not like other standard controller agents. You can also use Ruse while you've died. So can you walk me through that?
We kind of wanted Clove to be a more aggressive agent who would be more comfortable taking risks, being proactive, and not, you know, watching the whole round unfold while they're just trying to figure out what to do with their team. So we kind of ended up just saying, hey, you can still do this after you die. So that's kind of the design inspiration behind Ruse.
I'm not going to get flamed for going down first in my ranked games.
I mean, you might still, maybe.
I might do. It depends how I die, really.
Depends if you get kills, yeah. But that's like an intentional decision by you guys in terms of trying to fulfill a niche that you thought was missing from the game?
Yeah, we kind of felt like there wasn't that much competition within the controller role for really aggressive agents who wanted to make plays individually. We felt like there was kind of a lot of role competition for really cerebral characters who really rewarded you for staying alive and playing in the back and making sure you got a lot of value for your team, but there wasn't much for the more impulsive, aggressive type of Valorant player.
So you mentioned that the ultimate ability required a damaging assist. So that's where the Q medal seems really interesting, because that is a damaging ability, but using a decay mechanic. So can you walk us through how players might use this?
Yeah, so to combo kind of the ultimate Not Dead Yet with the Q, you really want to make sure that you debuff someone with the Q, and then if you kill them or assist them, then you'll manage to stay alive in the ultimate. So that's kind of intended by design, that you can use this Q when you're back alive to try to get a last-minute save or stay within the round.
Yeah, and it's not something you can use for lineups. It debts on a timer when you throw it, right? So yeah, it's very like intentional. Do you think people are going to be like cooking up like specific spots for it where you throw it out?
Yeah, I think there will be specific spots where it's like quite powerful. I think a lot of the staging space fights on a lot of our maps are really good for it, like Lotus A, where you're running out and it's kind of the war zone of utility. Yeah, Rubble. It's really good in spots like that, especially combining with other agents' utility. So just kind of trying to play around those staging spaces are where I expect it to shine most, because it can kind of just explode on your head really quickly.
So let's move on to the first ability that we're covering last here, which is Pick Me Up. So this one, again, incentivizing that more aggressive playstyle rather than trying to stay alive for as long as possible. It gives you something, a reward for going out there and getting kills.
Yeah, we really wanted to make sure that there were really clear signals for players that you want to play this character aggressively compared to other controllers. A lot of controller players, when we were first testing the character, were really, really afraid to take risks, and it was like, oh, we needed to give them clear incentives. And the easiest way to do that from a design perspective is to say, hey, you can actually only press this button if you've killed someone or if you've damaged someone. So that was kind of like the leading design inspiration there.
And what is Clove getting from Pick Me Up?
Clove gets a speed boost and a temporary overheal that is kind of similar to Reyna's overheal, a little bit different on the texture side of things in that all of the healing you get is temporary. So if you don't use the speed boost to go get more kills with your overheal, then it'll all go away. So you kind of have to assess if it's worth pushing the limits, and I kind of hope people decide it's worth it most of the time.
I'm a smokes main because I tend to just pick what my team needs. I don't think my team's going to let me pick smokes anymore. This is going to be insta-locked immediately.
Your role is going to be stolen.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to see how it actually plays out, and I believe we've got something cooked up right after this. So thank you very much, John and Dan, for joining us. Really appreciate you explaining how Clove works, and we're going to send things off to a taste of how this agent is actually going to function in a real game environment.